Welcome, everyone. My name is Jeff St Laurent, and this is the Tuesday live show coming out to you each and every week. I do record all of my shows, and I put them on my website, sellingcoaching.com, under the university. Fantastic bunch of resources there as I help coaches transition to a full-time business. And also right on the homepage of my website, sellingcoaching.com, I've got a great resource, and that's launching your full-time coaching business, your first 3 vital steps. When you enter your name and email, you're going to get instant access to that. It's an audio video training that I can put you through. It's just about 45 minutes long. So it's very detailed in there as well. And then also when you enter your name and email, that's going to put you into my email community. I want you to be a part of my community, and that's going to allow you to not only receive some great education on a weekly basis from me with my emails, but you're going to get an opportunity to see how I use my email to stay in touch with my community, which is always a vital component of your business as you transition to full-time, whatever that means for you. Obviously, we all come at this from different angles. And then also right on sellingcoaching.com, at the top of every page, I have an invitation to my private Facebook group. Private Facebook group is a great opportunity for you to speak your message with sharing some of your videos and sharing some of what you do, but also ask questions, interact with me and the community that we've created there as well. So lots of great resources. I help you transition to full-time business. Moving forward in a coaching business can be challenging, and that's why today's topic is about finding your hook within the niche. Last week on my live show, I did basically how to decide on your niche, and really talking about giving you some great examples on kind of like some mentoring clients of mine and how I've worked with them and how I kind of really understood their story and how I turned that into their niche statement, or as I like to call it, your headline, which is helping who with what specifically. Now, if you go to sellingcoaching.com as an example, one of the first things you'll see besides me is my headline, helping coaches transition to a full-time business, helping who with what specifically. And there I also have the name of my business, which is Selling Coaching. And obviously, if you follow me, or as you begin to follow me, you'll notice is that as I help coaches, or part of the way I help coaches transition to full-time, even though my niche headline is very specific in terms of the outcome and also with who I'm helping that with, within that niche, as I would say, there's a special hook, whatever you want to call it. There's a hook. And the hook is the selling aspect. In other words, where I specialize is in the skill set of selling. I want to help you as a coach improve and begin to master selling as a skill set. And the reason for that stems back to my story, as I've been doing this is my 15th year full-time as a coach since 2004. And one of the reasons, and I would say if not the main reason why I'm still in business today and I can create a consistent 6-figure income over that amount of time, is because I've learned the skill set of selling. I understand that and I hone it all the time. And now that I teach it, it makes me even better at it as well. And that's why I teach that. So within my niche, I've got that hook of selling, which means that, if I were to take my niche headline of helping coaches transition to a full-time business, and I were to generalize that, and let's generalize it 2 ways. Let's generalize it from the who. Instead of coaches, let's just say entrepreneurs. And from the what, let's take it from transitioning to a full-time business to generically growing their business. So let's just say I help entrepreneurs grow their business. Well, that's pretty broad, even though it's in an area, it's more like it's an area of the world, like a country, like Asia, right? So it's still very broad. I help entrepreneurs grow their business. Let's just say I was there. So if that were the case, what's my hook? And the reason I'm talking about this hook is because a lot of coaches that I mentor, or a lot of people that I work with and speak to as coaches, their biggest challenge is, oh my God, how do I take this headline and make it more specific? At the end of the day, it still feels general, it still feels vague, and they know, they at least logically understand the value of narrowing their market and targeting it. So if you can't get there, or even if you are there, I'm talking about this concept of a hook today, because a hook is kind of your unique skill set. It's a unique way, and it stems from your story, but it's a unique way that that you talk to people about, or that it's a unique quality about you that people would describe you as, right? So in other words, for me, it's the selling aspect. So if I were just simply helping entrepreneurs grow their business, I specialize in that, in the selling skill set. So if I were now blended in with a whole bunch of other people, because there's a whole bunch of other gurus out there, coaches, mentors, whatever you want to call them, that help entrepreneurs grow their business or make more money or whatever generally that you want them to do, right? So what's going to separate me from all those people would be I focus on selling. I focus on the selling skill set, right? So even with me is I help you structure your business from A to Z and help you, structure your email list, setting up live events, your marketing, everything, how to convert your clients, paid leads, leads into paying clients, the sales conversation, et cetera. But that's, I work through there, but I specialize in that selling aspect because everything I do with an entrepreneur when I mentor coach them or with coaches is along the way as I relate everything back to the selling skill set and how it's going to relate to them getting paid, because you can't create a full-time business, which to me is a full-time income, if you don't get paid. So we got to understand that selling skill set. So what I'm now bringing this to you is we got to start to look at an attribute that you have, something that separates you, something that your friends would describe you as. Let me give you another example to help you with this, and then we can give some examples of maybe what some different hooks are to close this off. So one of my newer mentoring clients that she just hired me last week, we had our first real session, if you will, moving forward this week. And we had started to work through, who she was helping with what specifically, and it was still somewhat broad. But what was strong about her was she had a very specific story. And where we got down to with her is that at the end of the day, she had been in a horrible accident, and she had broken both of her legs, and their family moved from Taiwan over to the U.S. And basically what happened was they couldn't afford medical services, financially. So her legs were, let's say, just more deformed, and she couldn't walk on them. And so she had arm crutches. And so she felt so different and separate from, let's say, the average person. And she felt judged. She felt like she didn't fit in. She wasn't good enough. And, the rejection, it was in her head and it was also real, right? So it created this real space for her. And I felt like of all the story that she shared, there's a powerful story there. But I felt like where she can hone in on within a niche, even though it was generic, what her hook would be is that judgment space. Right. And especially working with women, because she knows she wants to work with women, but especially with women in the world, there's a lot on women. Women have it hard. Us guys do too, but not it's just differently. It's like with women, it's hard, especially appearance wise in social media and magazines and stuff like that. It's like, guys, we get old, we get gray hair, we lose our hair, we get fat, we don't shave. And it's like, we look fine. Right. But women, it's just like, with their makeup and their hair. And it's just like, they constantly feel judged, and we're all judged in some ways. But the point is that you're dealing with a population that's constantly comparing themselves, and hopefully they don't. But the reality is that sometimes they do. They feel rejected. They feel not good enough sometimes. And so she's coming from this very inspiring story because she's in a spot in her life where she's created success, and she's gone beyond the physical dimension, right? She's gone to that spiritual dimension, right? She had that moment on the curbside where she said, it can't be just about how I look, because that's just one dimension, and she thought about that purpose. But it all comes back to that hook of judgment. It's creating that judgment-free zone, and to help with this hook space, we started talking about on our session. I was helping her, and I was listening to this because we were having trouble getting there, and then I thought about this because I come from the fitness world, and I'll give you this example that I gave to her, which really helped her see this yesterday on our call. Was I said, and some of you might have been familiar with the franchise Planet Fitness. And if you haven't, I'm sure you've heard of them or they're around. And if you've ever been to a Planet Fitness, at the end of the day, they've got definitely their unique brand in terms of the coloring and the logo and things like that. But where their hook is that it's a judgment-free zone. So if you ever go to a Planet Fitness or just go to YouTube and watch Planet Fitness commercials, they're all about judgment-free. Because one of the biggest barriers for people nowadays going into a health club or a gym, et cetera, is that you've got these people, as for these guys that are muscle guys, and they're carrying their big water jug around like the stereotypical bodybuilder, and they're not friendly and they're mean, or these super fit people that it's an intimidating place, and people feel judged, and they don't want to feel judged, so then they don't go. So not only did they start the low price model, right, but they broke that barrier, but it's this judgment-free zone. Because at the end of the day, what do? They help people get fit. Right? What do they have? What's different about them than any other gym that's out there, right? They've got treadmills. Okay. So does in every other place. They've got elliptical trainers. So does in every other place, right? They've got weights and dumbbells and machines. Okay, they go strength machines. So doesn't everybody else. So what's different about them? It's their branding. It's their message. They're saying, hey, you can come to this place judgment-free. And all the signs everywhere, judgment-free zone. And you can't wear like skimpy string stuff and let all your muscles show. It's like, there's like almost like in some ways a dress code, and you can't grunt. There's like a grunt meter or whatever it's called, where if you slam the weights, the vibration sets off this alarm. It's called a lunk alarm. A lunk refers to like a lunky person who's just big and bulky, right? So you get my point is that that's their hook within a very broad niche of a gym or a health club that helps people get fit. They don't offer personal training. They don't have a juice bar. They have no amenities. It's just a place that's open 24/7. And you just show up and you do a workout. They don't have any guidance. They don't have anything like that, right? So there's nothing special about it. It's $10 a month. If you don't show up, so what? Donate $10 a month for a year. It's not going to break your wallet, right? Most people don't even go, like they don't go to health clubs anyways, but it's this inviting space. That's their hook. And that's what I did with my client is I compared it to that piece. And then she saw it. It was so clear. And I'm like, so you can talk about personal development. You can talk about your story. You can share all this stuff right there. But the hook within that niche is that judgment-free zone. And you're teaching these women to release judgment, stop comparing themselves. Because when you do that, what's the outcome? What can you do? Because her story is when she stopped comparing herself, when she stopped not feeling good enough and stopped feeling that rejection, etc. What she realized is there was so much more to her life, and she could create these hobbies and these passions in this coaching business of hers. And it freed her up to create an authentic path for herself as opposed to going down a path of living up of other people's expectations, right? That's where her hook is. And then it sunk in. And now what she does is she's going to relate she can talk about anything she wants. Just like as a coach, I can talk about anything that I want as a mentor coach, but I always relate my things back to selling and how that transitions them to full time. She's going to relate everything back to the judgment-free zone and then creating the space beyond that, right? So that becomes that hook. So where I want to wrap this up with you today is I want you to get to the spot of saying for myself is what's one thing that I'm known for that my friends would always, if all your friends said, oh, well, if Jeff is this, he's certainly this, and it could be charisma. Maybe it's a skill set that you have, or maybe you speak up for yourself, or, you're no BS, or you're never afraid to share your opinion. It's just attributes like that. One of my other clients, I'm not going to tell you the whole story, but I've helped her and she's been doing it for a year plus right now. I actually interviewed her with one of my success stories, Marty Hicks, and just has a great business. And she was still fairly broad, but where we've gone as I'm helping her write a book right now is we've gotten to this space where there's one thing that she is she's not afraid to speak her voice. So within that genre of more of that generic niche of self-love, self-help, if you will, but loving yourself from the inside out, we've gotten to that space with her, which is kind of the premise of her book, is speaking up for yourself. So she's going to kind of start branding herself more as that speaking up girl, the girl who helps you speak up for yourself. Everything else still stays the same. Education's the same. Weekly events are the same. Emails are the same. But now it sometimes relates to that hook. The hook is speaking up for yourself. So now she can really stand out from just, say, everybody else that's in that maybe self-love, self-help space is, okay, well, this is the speaking up girl. Like if you want to speak up for yourself, this is where you can go. And that's really going to help you distinguish yourself. It's also going to help you feel more confident in the direction you can go with your business. It's also going to start to anchor your content. Part of the value in having a strong, well-defined niche headline, helping who with what specifically, is it helps us with our marketing because it allows us to know where these people are, where they're located, do we invest our time there or not. But the other piece to it is it sets some boundaries and it anchors our content. Just like my Tuesday live shows, go to sellingcoaching.com under the university, and I'm 140, closing on 150 calls right now, weekly calls, not to mention all the other videos and content that I produce on a weekly basis. I've got my Selling Coaching Minute that I have. It's a daily podcast every day, 1 minute long, right? If you go to Selling Coaching University, sellingcoaching.com under the university, under the categories, you'll see one at the bottom says podcast. You can check that out as well. But how do I get all this content? Well, I've got this niche and I've got this hook within this niche of selling, of helping coaches transition, but that anchors my content. But if you don't have that niche headline of the helping who with what specifically, this hook can then be your anchor for your content as well, right? So it can start anchoring the content is because now you can relate everything back to this one spot. Hopefully this has been helpful for you. You can start to look within and start to say, if you can't find it yourself, Maybe, like I said, you can start with some of your friends, start with some of your peers, or maybe you're in a position where you need some help with this. Maybe that's a place where you consider working with me and hiring me as your mentor coach. And if that's the case, I'd have you go to sellingcoaching.com, go to the Work With Me page, fill out the form at the bottom. I will follow up with you. I will call you, yes, and we will create a relaxed conversation and we can see where we can go. And maybe we want to just find out a little bit more what you're looking for and how I can help you. But either way, whether you move forward with me or not, doesn't matter. Don't be afraid to reach out because I'm here to help. I'm here to serve. And all I want for you is I want to see you move forward with your full-time coaching business.